my name is Bollinger, and tonight I am giving you a lesson on Lawrence Kohlberg. Lawrence Kohlberg developed what we call the theory of moral development. Just for a little bit of background on Lawrence Kohlberg, he was born in 1927 and died in 1987 in Boston. His parents divorced at a very young age. He was 5 and he had 3 older siblings. He and his 3 siblings were split to live separately between the mother and his father. Lawrence and his immediate sibling, who's older than him, chose to live with their father, and the 2 older siblings lived with their mother. When we're talking about this type of thing, in 1935, that was an anomaly. Most people would not have split their families like that, but for whatever reason they did. Maybe that had a little impact on him wanting to become a psychologist as he grew up. But he served as a merchant marine and later attended the University of Chicago, where he got his education. He received his PhD in psychology in 1958. While there, he was studying Piaget's cognitive development theory and working to expand on how it can apply to moral development of individuals. He later taught at the Harvard University beginning in 1968. Any questions? So, Kohlberg's moral development theory is based on 3 different levels of moral development. They're separated into 2 stages each, so for a total of 6 stages. The stages start at birth and they progress through adulthood. They are based primarily on the concept of self, social interaction with others, and the perception of justice. As you can see, Kohlberg's theory of moral development is separated into 3 levels, the first one being pre-conventional. This level exists from birth to about elementary school, when children are learning about their consequences of their behaviors. Within this level, the value of morality is not yet inherent. It is existing externally within the adults that first is either living with or spending a lot of time with. In this level 1 stage, in this first level, pre-moral or pre-conventional level, children follow the rules established by an adult or a parent. They follow the rules not because of an intrinsic desire to, or not because of their understanding of the moral reason to follow the rule, but more because they have learned a consequence. If they follow the rule, there will be no negative consequence. If they don't follow the rule, there will be a consequence that they have to endure. For instance, a timeout or perhaps a spanking. We see this in elementary school when we have students who are kindergarten students and they're learning to line up straight. And if you go to a school, you will see tape even on the sidewalks in the first few days of school or first couple of weeks, where they're trying to get the children to fall in line, stay on the line, so that they are not disrupting other students in the hallways, and they learn how to be quiet and walk straight. In elementary school, if a student, or in kindergarten, if a student isn't standing on the line in the way in which he's supposed to, then his green flag for the day may turn to yellow, or he may get whatever the teacher assigns as a warning to that student. Over time, that kindergarten student will learn, if I stand in line, I will not have any consequence. But if I move off of the line, then I will end up having either a consequence of a parent or the teacher or missing recess or something like that. The level 2, conventional level, deals with adolescent and high school level, sometimes middle school. Lawrence Kohlberg feels that you have to achieve the first level before you can move into the second level. In this second level of moral development is the gratification that a person gets from doing the right thing or maintaining order in a situation. This level shows development from the external, from other people's feelings about moral correctness, into their own intrinsic feelings of being correct and doing the right thing. In this level, the person understands authority and typically does not question it. In a middle school or a high school setting, I see this personally a lot in a situation which I might give a quiz or a test to a group of students. And occasionally I might have a student who tells me the next day or even right after the class that one of the fellow students in the classroom was cheating or was trying to cheat off of their test. So they don't have to tell me that. That person didn't have to come and tell me that someone was trying to cheat or that they saw that happening. But they do it as a sense of developing, of maintaining order and trying to do the right thing in a situation. And that's the next growth level of moral development. The third level, called post-conventional, is usually established as an individual moves into adulthood. It reflects the person's understanding of the concept of conformity. The adult understands internally that something is either right or wrong. They don't need to tell someone that it's right or wrong and tell them why or to do the right thing. They choose to do the right thing because they have inner feelings and an intrinsic understanding of the moral value of that situation. The moral reasoning is based on individual rights and perceived justice. In my opinion, a good example of how a person achieves this level 3 over time and with experiences in life is if someone is at a store and they see someone trying to snatch someone's purse. Someone who has achieved this level 3 of Kohlberg's development theory, they might go after the person. They might say, this is wrong, you can't steal someone else's purse, so I'm going to go and I'm going to catch you and I'm going to stop you from doing such a terrible thing. And just to expand on each one some more, just overall, again, before we move on, Lawrence Kohlberg felt that you had to achieve level 1 understanding of moral development, then move to level 2. After you achieved that, then you could move to level 3. Within each of these levels are stages, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. So just real briefly, I've got some bullet points here. Stepping back again to the pre-moral, this is elementary school age, pre-conventional level. In that pre-conventional level, Kohlberg separated this level into 2 stages. The first one being obedience and punishment, which is what I just was discussing with the example of the kindergartner, applies to young children. The child learns that if they are good or they obey the rules, they will avoid punishment. The child also learns that if someone is being punished, it must be because they did something wrong or bad or they did not obey. Stage 2, the personal reward, self-interest or ego stage, applies to older children. The child begins to obey the rules or to be good in order to receive a reward. We can all think of examples in which, kind of like I mentioned with the kindergartner on the walking on the line, I found this section to be kind of an interesting thing to think about for us in this class that we're taking right now. In that, if you have a young child who's being abused by someone, especially if they're being abused by someone in their immediate family, they may not have an ability to learn this process. They may be stumped because if they feel like they're being abused or if they feel like they're being punished, when in reality they may not have done anything wrong, it may send some strange signals to them. creating some further development issues later in life for them. Moving to the level 2 we talked about a second ago, where I mentioned the students in a high school environment and an individual telling a teacher that someone was trying to cheat or cheating off of them. Again, this level 2 is separated into 2 stages, and we call it stage 3 and stage 4. In stage 3, we have, again, social conformity, being the good boy or the good girl. This is usually occurs in the adolescent stage. It has to do with pleasing and helping others, seeking approval. Again, especially with peer pressure in a high school or a middle school setting, a lot of students want to stay in the norm. They don't want to be singled out. Their intentions are good, and they're doing their best to live up to social expectations. Stage 4 is law and order and authority. Again, this is where the adolescent starts to move to an adult. They respect authority, and they strive to maintain law and order. They are becoming aware of rules of society, the societal norms, not necessarily just the norms within their own little personal home or school classroom, but they tend to start being aware of the big picture of society. They understand that we obey rules to follow the law or to avoid feelings of guilt. And moving to the 3rd level, a few minutes ago where I talked about a purse snatcher, Lawrence Kohlberg believed that this post-conventional, self-accepted moral principles are developed here, and they are separated into stage 5 and stage 6. In stage 5, we have almost a social contract, an understanding of right and wrong in terms of laws or rules that have been established in society. Many choose to disobey, weighing the common good versus their self-interest. And the last bullet point I have here is people may feel that the laws and rules should be changed based on their personal values. In stage 6, the universal ethical principles apply, where moral guidelines or feelings of conscience may no longer fit the laws and rules as established in the society. Understanding that choosing not to follow the laws or the rules will result in a consequence. So this has to do with bigger, broad-based pictures, and especially now in the political arena that we keep seeing. We've all seen pictures on the news of what's going on at this political event or that one, where you have groups of people who are trying to express their cause for the common good of the whole country. However, you have a different group of people who may think just the opposite. So this gets to be a complicated level, and in Kohlberg's eyes, not every person will achieve this level of an understanding of moral development, and how your personal beliefs and your personal morals have to either fit in or may not fit in with the whole societal norms. In summary, I also wanted to point out that because how I said at the beginning that Kohlberg started studying Piaget, and when he did, he used Piaget's theory of cognitive development, and he extended it further. So in both of these theorists, Kohlberg and Piaget, we have the development of human beings and the development of their self. These are just some commonalities that I found between Kohlberg and Piaget, for those of you who are familiar with Piaget. Heredity and IQ play a part in the development of human beings. The cognitive and moral development grow over time, and for both of these theorists. And under both of these theorists, moral reasons and consequences are discussed. Rules are an important part of society and of human development. That's believed by both Kohlberg and Piaget. And in both theorists' minds, the final stage may not ever be fully realized. I did not give all the details on Piaget and his theory of cognitive development, but I just thought that this was kind of interesting for those who might have some experience in that. And just a couple of differences between Piaget's cognitive development and Kohlberg's moral development are that Piaget was, his feeling was that most interaction occurs with peers, and that peer interaction is very critical, whereas in Kohlberg's view, especially at a toddler or young formative age, the focus of the interaction is more dealing with a baby or a child and how they interact with an adult and a perceived adult of authority. A second little difference is that in Piaget, the stages are established by age. Typically, the highest stage, which is called self-realization, typically is reached during adolescence. Whereas in Kohlberg's view, the stages have no age brackets. It's just more of a time, a development of the students or of the beings. No age limits. It begins at birth, and it's a lot more broad. It extends all the way through adulthood. And as I said just a second ago, in both, that final stage of Piaget and the final stage of Kohlberg may never even be realized by people. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, and I have two questions for you. My first question for you as our class is, how do you feel that social media has impacted the concept of moral right versus wrong in the eyes of children or in adolescents today? I personally think that the whole advent of social media has impacted. I'm not going to say what I think, but I would just be interested to hear what you all think as far as how that impacts the morality of our children. Even we have young children that are on social media, even though there's supposed to be an age limit on it. But I have some concerns that this is going to change the patterns of moral development in our next generations. The second question I have for you is, how can teachers, either in elementary school or middle school or high school, foster an environment whereby students are guided to the next level of moral development within Kohlberg's moral stages? How can we push them to the next understanding of doing the right thing all the time, or doing the right thing for the good of the society? How can we push them in that positive direction, especially in light of a lot of negative impacts, a lot of negative things going on around them and around our culture and in our communities right now? So if anyone else has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. And I have my list of works cited, and that will be it for the day. Thank you so much.